Hi, everyone, and welcome to A Better Future Starts Here, a live weekly show brought to you by the American Society for the Positive Care of Children, otherwise known as AmericanSPCC.org. I'm your host, author, career coach, public speaking coach, Tracy Kawa. American SPCC is dedicated to improving the lives of children in the United States. We are America's voice for children, bringing together individuals and organizations that ensure that children are raised in a safe environment so that they may thrive and grow into healthy, secure leaders of tomorrow. Our goal is to bring you perspective, knowledge, and support from industry leaders and professionals who are dedicated to empowering children and families. Today, we're happy to bring you Karen Prescott, otherwise known as the Bowtie Girl. Karen Prescott is the founder and chief statement maker, I like that, of the fashion brand, the Bowtie Girl. Be courageous, be confident, be you. She's the visionary founder and CEO of Bowtie Kids, a charitable organization that provides support and advocates for courage and confidence for kids with chronic pain. Karen's for-profit and nonprofit are both built on the foundation of 5 empowerment principles: self-discovery, self-awareness, self-worth, self-expression, and social engagement and advocacy. Karen has served as a member and advisor on various boards, including the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce, where she's been active on the Executive Committee, the Government Affairs Committee, and the Nominating Committee. She's been elected by the Chamber's leadership team to revitalize a dormant women's council. And as immediate past chair, she stoked the flames of success, and the Women's Council is currently one of the most thriving, active, and engaged councils for the Chamber to date. In 2016, Karen was chair for the Gay and Lesbian Business Exchange, GLBX Council, which she took to new heights during her tenure. Karen has been awarded multiple community leadership awards. She's been honored as one of Fort Lauderdale's powerful women by Gold Coast Media Group. Karen's vision for the world is oneness. She and her organization help kids struggling with chronic pain, emotional pain, mental health, anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. Thank you for joining us today, Karen.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You are an inspiration. You're an innovator in your space, bringing us awareness on so many levels, so many issues. Can you tell us a little bit about your passion for families and for children?
Yes. First of all, I want to say thank you for having me. I came from, I would say, a broken home, right? I grew up with a single mom. I am the eldest of 5, and I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm the eldest of 5. And there's a lot of things that I enjoy at home. And also I have a daughter. My daughter's, how old is my daughter? 28? She'll be 29 this year.
Oh my gosh. You look 28 or 29, Karen. That's great. I love it.
So I do have a passion for family, right? And family doesn't really mean that you're born into, right? It doesn't mean blood. I do have a passion for bringing people together. I have a respect that we all think differently. We all get to have respect to hear each other's opinion and learn from us because we have different backgrounds. Even if we're born into the same blood family, it's amazing that you can have family that grew up into the same family and we have different concepts because we think differently. Some people think more with the right brain, some people think more with the left brain, and it's really interesting for me. So I do have a passion for love, respect, oneness, bringing people together. And I love the child part of it. I think we all gonna be. For me, I love kids, right? I love rolling. My best age for kids is 0 to, I would say, 10, right? Yeah. When they get into the preteens, it's a little different.
Right. A little different there.
Right, and I still love them because that they get a little more inquisitive. But I love rolling around with kids. I love the kids that they have the freedom to just speak their mind without have to worry about judgment coming from that. And I really enjoy that part of it with kids, just the freedom to just be.
So Karen, how did you get into advocating for children with chronic pain? Where did that chronic pain factor come into play along the lines?
Well, that's my own personal journey, actually. Back in 2009, and it stemmed before that, right? So I have neck issues. It took them 3 years to find my neck issues. They found it the first time back in 2000, I think, three. They did a fusion. 5 years later, I had to have another surgery because, my hands were going numb. I didn't come out the same way. I didn't have the same luck as the first surgery. So I came out rehabilitated, really. I was in a wheelchair. My leg was stretched out. I looked, my head and neck was propped up for a long time. And it took years and the pain was just getting worse. So I went into a depression. Deep. I went into anxiety. I developed anxiety and really bad panic attack. The first time I had a panic attack, I didn't know what was happening because I was gasping for air and I couldn't get the air into my system. That was the first time I ever experienced that. And then I attempted suicide. So my pain levels were so severe 24/7, every single minute of the day. And they was just stroking me with more blood pressure, with pain meds. I was on fentanyl patch, maxed out, oxy, Flexerol for muscle relaxer. I can keep going how much pills I was on. And then I got up to like 6 blood pressure pills 3 times a day, just high dosage. And then they still couldn't manage my blood pressure. I was in and out of the hospital, blood pressure 280 something over 170 something, which was really, really crazy. But it's through me living after attempting suicide because I took about maybe over 100 blood pressure pills. And in my mind, I was thinking, I just want to take something to stop suffering. And I just want to leave this earth really quiet because I was suffering. I was actually suffering at the time. So the doctors didn't know how I was still alive, to be honest. They were that. And there's nothing else but God, right? Who else can do that? So in the hospital, I said to God, I was like, well, you have a greater purpose for me. So you just show me what it is. I'll never do this again. And through me coming back from that, meditating, where the message started coming that you needed to do this, I kept pushing it away because, as I say, my kid is old. My daughter is old. She's 28, right? Oh. And I'm like, well, are you kidding me? So it wouldn't leave me alone. And through continuously every day, it's coming harder and harder. And finally, I just kind of surrendered. Okay, what do you want me to do? Wow. Just kind of open the door and show me the way. And this is kind of how Bowtie Kids was born. The legal name is Prescott Kids, Inc. And the Bowtie Kids was born out when the Bowtie Girl was born. So they changed the name because of the meaning of the bow tie for me.
Okay.
That's a mouthful, huh?
Your journey is just incredible. And I'm just wondering, just out of clarity reasons, the neck pain, was it caused by a specific traumatic injury like a car accident, or it was just something that was more innate, something you were born with?
So I really don't know, right? So we don't have an exact point. This is what I kind of assume. So because the pain was in like my early, I have pain from since my early 20s, I can remember. Okay. So it could be like my late teens, early 20s. So the pain carried on for a lot of years with me ignoring it.
I see.
So I did martial arts for a lot of years. It could be that.
Yeah.
It could be my mom, as a single mom, very like physically abusive with the beatings and stuff. I have marks on my head, my lips. So I don't know if that affected my neck. So I don't know. But I ignored the pain for a lot of years. And then it got to a point where I couldn't ignore it anymore. And then it took them another few years to actually find where the pain was coming from, because it got so bad that it was affecting my vision. And the way I would walk, and of course everything else around me, because my fatigue, frustration, everything else was just at a minimum. And I was doing all of this while I was in retail as a GM, managing hundreds of people.
Right, and you're probably standing a lot.
Yes, I was standing a lot.
So what's interesting about this to me is, where does the intersection between chronic pain, mental health, and suicide, where do those three things collide? What is the connection?
Well, I always say for me, when your body hurts for so long, and it was interesting because I remember going to a second opinion doctor because I got misdiagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I went to a second opinion for the doctor in the middle of all the stuff I was going through, and I couldn't walk because the doctor who did the surgery, he went into panic, and he's like, well, what is going on? You can't walk. So in the middle of that, the doctor said to me, "Are you depressed?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not depressed. I'm not depressed." But he said, "It would be really hard for you not to be depressed going through what you're going through." Now, remember, this is a person, martial arts all my life, swimming, running, job, second job, school, all this energy I had, I still have. Then independent, fiercely independent, okay? All of a sudden, one day, my life just changed. Boom.
Reliant, dependent, suddenly.
I couldn't walk on my own. I couldn't fix my food. I couldn't bathe myself. I couldn't pay my bills. I had to literally learn to depend on somebody else for all those things. And so in the middle of me hurting really bad, I can't walk. I can't pay my bills. I can't feed myself. And nothing seemed to was helping. So I just went down into a dark path.
Right.
It just spiraled right down.
I can't help but think that there are so many lessons here from listening to our bodies and not ignoring pain when we feel it, even if we think we feel it, get it checked out. Number two, the vulnerability side of it, the humility, the humbleness of being able to ask for help when we need it. So
you're absolutely correct about that. But I'll tell you, I would not change. I wouldn't like to suffer with pain like to that level. I still hurt, but I wouldn't change it because it's opened my eyes up to a lot, right? The shame and the guilt that we have. And so now I talk freely, and I just get to talk freely. And part of my journey is to give people the freedom to just be. And if we can just be, we'll free ourselves and heal ourselves from so much. Keeping things inside really causes a lot of damage in us physically and mentally and emotionally. So I love to say I just get to be. And if it's bothering you, I'm sorry, but I just get to be, we can have a conversation. I could listen to you because we come from different backgrounds. We want to understand. As long as you have an open mind for us to have a conversation, I want to hear how you feel. And you get to hear how I feel, and we get to have to talk. We're open to it, but I just get to live a free life.
Yeah. What are some of the resources that you offer to children and families?
Well, one of the things that we're doing, and it's really, really important, is it's not just about the child that is impacted by the pain, but it also is a sibling, and it also is the caregiver, whether it's the parent or somebody else. Something that I learned early on, and I didn't see it until after the case, the person that I was with at the time wasn't able to handle what I was going through. And so that was an added pressure on me of giving somebody else a burden they're feeling helpless because they can't do anything. They're watching me in such pain, going in and out of the hospital, crying and bawling and don't know what to do. And it weighed on them. And I was thinking to myself, like, what is their problem? And this is me really being truly vulnerable right here. I was saying in myself, like, what is their problem? Like, I'm the one that's hurting. Why are they feeling like this? It's not until I stepped out of that relationship that I realized they were hurting in a different way because they were helpless and hopeless. And it was too much for them. And then I realized the child of the sibling of the child that was suffering with pain is also suffering in a different way because they're watching the parents probably giving a lot of attention to this child, taking them to the doctor, being there for them more, and that also affects them. So it's really important for us to bring the whole family. And if you have a friend too and you want to be involved, we get to bring them in along with that too, because everybody has different experiences. So one of the things that we're doing is our peer-to-peer support group. It's called KEYS. It's Kids Experiencing Empowered Support. And it's not just like any support group. We have really cool connected activities that we do within the support group. And every facilitator is a therapist and has had some journey of chronic pain, whether it's short-term or long-term, but they need to be able to connect with the kid that is having that experience. We also have a lot of other people that are adults that are there that's had the journey of chronic pain. So we get to connect and interconnect. So you're not alone. One child to know, listen, you're not going through this journey by yourself, and you don't have to go through this journey by yourself. So Kids Experiencing Empower Support, we have moved it virtually. I can't wait for us to go back in person, because it's really kind of cool. Because the idea is to have the parents in one room. We start together, then we divide them, the parents in one room, the sibling in another room, the kids that are having experience in the pain in another room. We're doing the same activities. Everybody's doing the same activities. And then we kind of bring them back together towards the end. We ended usually with a Bowtie walk in person, and everybody's complimenting each one for something. So you leave really positive. It's always amazing to watch the kids come in shy and how they leave. We're currently doing it monthly now, but there was a request to do it weekly. So we are moving into April. By April, we'll have it weekly. March, we're going to do bi-weekly, and April, we're going to do it weekly. So and that's a good thing, right? To have that request, because
yes, it means it's growing, and it means it's working, and people are enjoying the program and seeing the results.
Yes.
Yeah, congratulations on that.
Well, thank you. So that's one aspect. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It sounds like it's a very transformational program, I was going to say.
It is. And for me, that is the idea. How do we do that without they even realize that's happening?
Yeah.
So that's always right here. How do we make that happen?
How do we do it? How do we make these transformations happen naturally? Transformations.
Because too much when you think you're going to therapy, somebody's trying to fix you, you have resistance for that. But how do you make the transformation in a fun way, and you're realizing you're transforming and you're shifting, and not even knowing that you're actually naturally shifting into a better space, positive space.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times when people think of therapy, or at least the old way of therapy, of doing things, they thought of a lot of blame game, right? I hate my mommy, I hate my daddy, everything that was done wrong to me. And I think that therapy has come a long way. There's so many different types of therapy. And it sounds like your therapy engages not just the child, but the child and the family. So not only is it bringing the child into a more positive state, but it's helping the family to become empowered, that they can support this child properly.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You nailed it.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And we're currently also working on our Tower of Urban Farm called The Garden That Gives. And we have raised the money for the farm itself, for the garden. It's inside, it's indoor and outdoor, but mostly indoor, because if the kids are hurting and they're going through this stuff, we don't want them outside all the time in the heat. So we will have some outdoor and some indoor. But the idea, it's a STEM program. It's science, technology, English, and math. So while they're learning all of that, they're understanding the seed of how plants have started to born, opening it up, taking a look at that, planting it themselves, watering it, nurturing it, giving it light. So they're understanding to nurture the plant. They're also nurturing themselves, so they also can nurture others. And we're actually looking for a space so we can execute that. We were supposed to execute that last year, but with COVID, we stepped back. I said, now we can do it. If we do it and we just do it in smaller groups, that's okay. We get to just keep moving forward and create that impact ourselves. But yeah.
Are you looking for a space in South Florida?
I am.
Are you looking to create national chapters for your program eventually?
Absolutely.
I love it. Yes. I love it. I love that it incorporates so many things, the whole farming element, the STEM element, transformational programs, families, kids. It's really very fully engaging, right? 360 degrees engaging.
Thank you. That's the intentions, because it all came from me watching myself rebirth right? I have to say rebirth. So the discovering, rediscovering myself, the self-worth part of it just lost. Looking at my plants, one day the plants were doing really well, and one day they were like all were dead. And I'm like, what happened? And I realized, like, when I am not in a good mental space, my plants are not in a good space either. When I am doing really well, my plants are being watered. I'm picking the dead leaves off of them. I'm turning them wrong for the lights. I'm looking at them. I'm touching them, feeling them. But when I'm not in a good mental space, I don't do any of those things. And when I made that connection, I'm like, this has got to be in the program because it's such a correlation. And then I start observing myself and watching my behavior with that. And so that kind of also helped bring me out of it faster because now I have a mirror, right? I'm seeing me in a plant based on how, it's not something.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing. It's an external manifestation of how you're feeling internally.
Yes.
That's amazing. I mean, we've heard of people talking to their plants, right? We've heard of experiments where if you talk nicely to one plant, it flourishes, while at the same time there can be a plant sitting next to it. And if you're harsh with that plant, it withers. And this is a great lesson about not only our internal dialogue, and also how we speak to our children and those around us. What you speak nicely to and what you nurture will grow and flourish.
Absolutely.
And remember that, because we will be old and frail one day, and we will need people to support us too. So you want to support and cherish these young budding minds around you and these wonderful children. Where can we send people to find out more? Where can people find you, your organization?
BowtieKids.org. So BowtieKids.org. You can visit our website. Also, Bowtie Kids. The handle is Bowtie Kids. You'll find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We can find us there. We also can reach us at info@bowtiekids.org. So info@bowtiekids.org is another way to reach us. But yes, or you just Google Bowtie Kids. It'll come up.
Bowtie Kids.
Yes.
How can individuals become more self-aware in general?
That's interesting. I would say people push back a lot on meditation, right? And I tell people, from my experience, I will tell you my experience with meditation and how I got there. I was having insomnia. I couldn't sleep. And I stayed up sometimes 48 hours because of pain. And then it would have my body would have a certain reaction that I didn't like. And so I started doing some research of sleeping. And one of the things that came up a lot was meditation and finding a routine, going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time, but meditating. And so I didn't have anything else to do, but it was a pain in the butt, excuse my French, trying to find the right meditation that works for me. I noticed that different voices did not work. I didn't like them. That didn't work. I don't like this time of meditation. I don't like that time of meditation. And I realized also, like, different days, based on how I feel, certain meditation works better for me. So I started off with a minute of learning to breathe and getting centered myself. And I started doing some research and really truly understanding meditation. So people like meditation is hard, but we made it difficult. And through my own experience of that, starting really small with a minute, then moving into 5 minutes, then moving to 10 minutes, then moving to 15 minutes, I found myself almost getting addicted to meditation also because of how it made me feel and how it made me handle things. And then I started sleeping. So when I first started the meditation to go to sleep, I would finish an hour meditation and I'm still up. But then I'm like, I would do it again. And then I started falling asleep. And then before you know it, I'll close my eye and I think 60 seconds in the meditation, I'm gone. Now, it's okay if you're sleeping during the meditation. So I would use guided meditation in the beginning to help me. And then I realized, I get up the next morning and I'm feeling good. My body's still hurting. But then slowly that was starting to help me. And then during the day, I say, I need it. So when I'm in a space, I go and yesterday I had to do that. Take a few minutes. I don't care how busy the time is, center myself.
Yeah.
and breathe through that, and see how much it helps. So meditation is like a big part of my life. I can't talk enough about it because of my own journey with it. It helped me manage my pain. It helped me manage my emotional side of me, and it still helps me manage my stress. I don't get as stressed or as raveled as I used to because of the meditation before and after, and because of finding my source, my center, and understanding to live in the flow. So because of all of that, I am kind of who I am today.
It's an amazing story. I have to ask you this question. We talk a lot about what coming first, the chicken or the egg. We talk about having some kind of body pain, which then leads to mental pain, or the mental pain that manifests itself in the body. There's so much of that chicken and egg conversation and questions in my head that, how do you relate to that question?
The chicken and the egg.
Yeah, the chicken and the egg. Like, when in saying, does the mental pain cause the body pain, or does it perpetuate it, and vice versa? And is meditation something that can be used to abrupt it, to disrupt both pain sources?
Well, I think meditation could be used to disrupt the pain, so both pain sources. Which comes first, the chicken and egg? Actually, that's funny. I said that it wasn't last year, year before, at an event that I had a couple of years ago, because I was building an organization. What comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? I really think it varies, right? Just like the left brain is really different from the right brain, it really varies. But everything is, for me, I believe it's emotional. We have emotional stuff that we kind of push aside sometimes, and we ignore it. So we're ignoring ourselves and our emotions and our feelings, and eventually it manifests. So we get to a point where I think I did, the way I managed a lot of my emotions is push it so far back that I didn't want to remember. But my body remembered and my mind remembered. And so this is for me, what I believe is, this is what happened. It showed itself, it reared its head in a really dangerous form, because I just kind of like stuck it back there. And it's some stuff from childhood. You're going through some painful stuff from childhood. There's nothing you can do about it. How do you manage it? Can I forget about this? I don't want to think about it. But that also started affecting my memory.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Any last words of advice that you can give our listeners on what they can do today? Our listeners are educators, they're teachers, they're parents, they're caregivers. What steps can they take today?
Well, what I would say to people is self-care. Take time for yourself. We make a lot of excuses that we don't have time, but we find time for other things when they come up. So just really kind of think about that. We are no good to anybody else, not even ourselves, if we don't take care of ourselves. And even if you start with 5 minutes a day, just to find somewhere and just breathe. And breathing doesn't mean you have to close your eye and focus on meditation. Breathing can just mean staring into the sky and just letting your memory just flow, and you're not focusing on anything that's stressful. Just take some time, and once you start small, you'll realize how much you enjoy it, how much you like it, how much it's making a difference in your life, and you'll keep giving yourself a little more. But carve out some time for yourself. If you have to put it in a book and block it and say, this time is for mine, I can make a schedule, then you do that. And then what you do is you keep your word to yourself. Just like you keep your word to other people, you keep your word to yourself. Self-care. Take care of you.
Take care of you. It's like putting your mask on first. So necessary.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Karen. Tell us once again where we can find you, where we can reach you, where we can support your organization.
Thank you so much for having me. Go to bowtiekids.org to support our organization. Also, a Facebook page, Bowtie Kids, a Twitter, Instagram, and a LinkedIn. You can also follow me, Karen Prescott, on LinkedIn or on my Facebook page. I do share a lot of information from there. Or you can reach out. You can send a message and reach out to this talk. If you connect with this story, even as an adult, and you need somebody to talk to, I'm here. No judgment, safe space.
It's wonderful. Thank you. Feel free to reach out to Karen Prescott, and Bowtie Kids.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us today, Karen. To learn what Karen is creating in the world, again, visit KarenPrescott.com, bowtiegirl.com, bowtiekids.org, or engage personally with Karen at KarenPrescott.com. Also, peer-to-peer support groups meet the fourth Saturday of every month. You can contact Sasha K at 754-422-3792 or Sasha at bowtiekids.org. To our listeners, thank you so much for joining us today. If you are a struggling parent or caregiver, know that you are not alone. To access more positive parenting resources like these, visit our Learning Center at americanspcc.org. Thanks to our viewers, donors, and our sponsors, we've provided over 5 million parents, teachers, and caregivers with the tools needed to help children build a brighter future. I'd like to remind everybody, once again, please, please, please go to americanspcc.org and download the Happy Child app. Amazing app. It's a free app. I've personally been using it with my child. It has made a huge difference in the way that I communicate. This app has been researched by a team of PhDs, including psychiatrists, neurologists. It's a wonderful gamification tool that teaches us in very short snippets how the chemicals in our brains work and how we respond to triggers within relationships. Once we learn how our brains work, we can harness these lessons, alerts, and the insights to build deeper and more meaningful relationships with our children. If you'd like to continue to contribute to the conversation, or if you know someone uplifting children or families in your community, we would love to hear from them. Please contact us at info@americanspcc.org. Let's make a difference together. Visit us at americanspcc.org to learn how you can help. And remember, a better future starts here.